Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Perafilozof City Skylines videos. In this video I'm going to continue building up the city in which I plan to reach 1 million population on the hard mode. If you remember from the previous episodes, I had some problems with traffic that I had to solve. I redid some of my roads, and then I forgot some connections, then I redid those as well. Once I upgraded all of these areas to high density, I had noticed that I had a discrepancy in the amount of goods that I was importing and exporting, so I had to do some calculations compared to how much I was selling and how much I was buying, how many goods I was importing, from where are they coming, and so on and so forth, to try and balance out the industry and the commercials, which then allows me to fix my traffic. Now, one more thing that I haven't been paying much attention to, but I do believe it's very important before I actually try expanding here, is public transportation. Now, I did use the bus stops in some of these areas to help me level up my offices and my industry. You can see one line here, one here, and another one here. And they are quite good at helping the industry level up. All the industry and even offices and the industry, the offices and the industry that I'm talking about are the one and the same. I mean the factories that are generic industry that can level up. Those would be these ones. They do require public transportation if you want to level them up, as well as do offices. If they have access to public transportation, they will level up faster. Now, public transportation that I have not been using are the metros. And I do think that it's time to use them because check this out. Let's find a street that's very busy with traffic. For example, that would be looking at about here. Now let's look at the import and export. So importing. How many trucks do you see here that are colored as trucks who are importing? Let's play at speed 3. Barely any. How many of them are colored for exporting? Well, a few of them, but not a lot. You see a lot of white traffic here. White means that they're neither importing or exporting, and there's only a handful of tourists from now and then, which means that most of this traffic comes from people. My Cims, this guy here resides in this building and works all the way down here. So if he wants to go from his residence to his job, he has to go through these streets and then go over here to the exits, go all the way around here, enter here, and then go to his workplace here. Then when he wants to go back home, he has to go here, go all the way up here, and come back to his home here. So that's his workplace and his home, which is of course turning out to provide my city with a lot of traffic that I would like to eliminate. So what I need to do is redo both my bus routes and to start using the metro system. Now as I do this, I also need to keep expanding at least a little bit. This area over here says it could require some more commercial and industry, and if I look at my population overview, I do have some unemployment that could be designated as workers for these buildings. So over here, if I get my streets all the way to the end of the map, I can get them to start working here. The zones that I could use would be offices, because I don't want any more generic industry up here. So that would be offices that would go in these areas, and I should probably keep away from zoning on the street that leads to the import and export from the cargo train terminal, so I should keep that one clear. Now the zones are kind of terrible because there's a hill here, so until I pass the hill I have to contend with the terrible zones. This is a place for offices, then I may go high density commercial, but I think I am going to need more of the offices. Now the question is, do I want to place offices up here or residential areas? The residents do suffer from sound pollution if I place them so close to the highway, especially in this last line, so it might be a good idea to save the offices for up here, like this. and then have some more residential areas here. At least 2 lines of it, 4 by 4, while over here I can have the high density commercial areas. Now this area here I will leave empty, as well as I should leave it for the metro and perhaps even a solar power plant if such a thing becomes necessary to have more power. And now that I mentioned power, I should probably upgrade my power supply a little bit at least. Now that these areas start to develop, they have power connection and they will have a water connection as well. There we go. So that's settled. I should upgrade the highway with sound barriers. That's also a good idea. Alright, now that I have finished doing that, and I should take a look at my imports and exports. I am exporting a little bit of goods, which is okay because I will have more high density commercial here, which is going to start using them and stop exporting them, while I'm importing only 1,500. I don't know why exactly the agricultural areas import when they are supposed to grow the food or whatever it is that they grow in these areas where there are these fields. So I'm not sure why do they have to import. I mean, you can notice that the field itself does not import, nor does it export, while the buildings that seem like buildings that would be producing like food instead of raw food, you can see that they both import and export, which I find rather curious. I will probably have to spend some time figuring that out. In any event, to get back to the point of this video, public transportation. The buses, the routes down here, I don't really have to pay too much attention to because there isn't much traffic here to talk about. These areas are red only because of the cargo trucks that go in and out of these areas. Now, as for the population, they don't drive so much, and there is a very low population here because they are low density areas. Now up here though, the problem is much bigger because of the high density areas. So what I first need to do is fix up these bus routes so that they connect more of the city together and not just be places for my industry or offices to level up. So what I need to do is change this up a little bit. Bus lines have different routes and they are covering the entire city. Now all I need is one more to be in here in the middle. So I can start it on here. Use the same stops with this one over here. Turn into here. And I connect it back up. So now I have 3 different bus routes here, which should help connect most of these areas. Now I should rename them and recolor them so that I can differentiate them. So this one over here should become much darker. So it's the inside line 3. So now I have 1, 2, 3 bus lines here. Like I said, as for the bus lines in these areas, I don't really have to pay too much attention to them unless I want to just straighten them out for the industry and offices to level up more easily. So I could like just fix up this one over here and move its station over here for better coverage of these industrial areas. And as for over here, the offices are already covered as well as all the industry with these bus stops. Now for the metro. The metro needs to connect pretty much the entire city. I mean, perhaps not this part if not necessary, but definitely this one. Now, how exactly do I connect it? Well, I did leave enough room here, so I could plant it right about here. And this area does not really have a good connection, so it's a good place to, for the first time, actually use these paths for the pedestrian to use them. So now I can draw a line from here to here, and should help the pedestrians find the metro station. As for the lines itself on the metro station, one should go from here to up here to the next station. While this one should later on go here, and there should be a fourth one here, so that we have a full circle. Now at the moment I only have these two, so only them will be one route. So from here to here and then back again. As for up here, I did place a new elementary school, there is a police station, there is a fire station, there's a clinic, and there's a crematorium, so these guys here should not need any more services. As for the traffic itself, well, we'll just have to leave it run for a while to see how it goes with the new bus routes and the new metro stations. And I definitely see that I may need to build up some more industry if I want to stop importing these goods, and I do have a demand for industry. These offices haven't really filled that demand. There is some unemployment, so I could get some more population if I give them jobs first. So I need to start building up this part of the city. Now I've been thinking whether or not should I build up this one or up here. It's actually easier to start here because I can get another cargo train station, get some industry that's going to be producing goods to be here, and then it can, like this industry over here, supply the high density commercial areas with goods. So it may be better to start off here, but like I said, if I want to start off here, I first need to add a new cargo terminal. For that, again, I will have to pause the game to be able to do these connections. The cargo cleaning terminal needs a street to be placed on. So how much room did I give it here from here to here? About 850 is it? And in order to get a straight street, I will build it here and then draw it down. Then disconnect this. Alright, now the cargo train station itself. The terminal, but I keep calling it a station. Plop here, and now to connect the rails. That's one connection, and here's the other one. Now the roads have to be remade. Alright, this connects in here. This needs to go over here. And one more thing is to connect this back up. Alright, this one just needs to be turned actually. Oops, the wrong direction once again. That fixes it. This thing should draw the power, or perhaps not. I do have some power lines that I no longer need. And then I might as well just draw them through here. And this thing will have power. As for the water, that needs to be drawn as well. Alright, and now I need some areas here on which I can zone. And I just need to figure out, am I going to have the same setup like here? So the incinerators would be on the edges. I believe so. Just how much space do I need to leave here? Well, I need to leave enough space for 5 of these, so that there's room for parks later on. So like this, up to here, and this disconnected. An incinerator can be placed here then. Turned off for now. And the streets for the industry would be going down here like this. Now I need to figure out just how to connect through here and how far. I'm thinking I need at least 3 zones deep for the industry to be making goods for this entire area. Although when I take a look over here as to just how much generic industry I have, I just have this area over here and it seems to be enough. Well, it's not enough anymore, it seems. It used to be enough, but with the additional buildings here, now some of my commercials actually import their goods. So yes, I should build 3 areas for the generic industry here. Alright, if that's 3 areas of generic industry, the next area can be high density commercials, then 2 areas or offices, and then I can have as many residential areas as I please. But I do need some roads for the industry to be able to export and import more easily. And these connections should be able to connect up to the highway. So I may do this instead. Have a connection right here. Now what do I want? I want the exits here. While the entrances are going to be from this side. Now as for the industry, if they're going to go up to here but then have an empty room here, this station is used from the right side, so they have to come in through here, get out through here, and drive from here to here. So this should actually be turned as a one-way into this direction. Then they need to leave it through here and go back to the industrial area. While to exit onto the highway, I will need to give them a street about here that would then have a connection to here. Alright, and over here this needs to be pulled up to about here. And now it's gonna ruin. Alright, actually I was making a one-way, that would be not what I want. Two-way is what I want. And now the area is still ruined. So annoying. But nothing can be done about that. Alright, and from here, so they will go back into the industrial areas. While they will be going into this area from... Well, I guess this could work. If necessary, I can make it bigger down here, but I would like to have a connection to the exit as well. What I could do actually is to have a two-way, or maybe no, a two-way, a one-way that goes from here and exits here. So I should turn this one, take it down towards the highway like this. Perhaps even a little bit better, maybe like this. And then from here have a highway ramp that leads the traffic out. Alright, and all of this to be zoned as industry, just not all of these zones at the same time. Again, I have this ugly zoning because this area is on a slope, but nothing can be done about that. Alright, so that would be the new industrial area. Starting from here, it won't have the power, so a connection has to be made for it. That should do the trick. As they go up here, I will be expanding with commercial residential zones, with services, and so forth and so on. Now I can let the game run once again. And one additional thing that I just remembered is that I should have a metro here, a new connection, right about here. So I can join this metro line into the existing one. Now I need to expand these stations to cover the new one. If this would just... Alright, if I just click here. Nope, that did not work. Alright, how about I delete the entire one and then just draw a new one? That should work. So from here to here to down here and then back. There we go. That's my new bigger line. This thing of course needs power. And power should show up here as soon as they finish up building the industrial buildings here. Over here I should have made a path as well, so that the residents from these areas have a closer connection. So let's go, for example, from here to here and from here to here, and they should be able to walk to the metro stop. One additional thing that I could have done all this time is this. And the same thing I could have done down here, but there might not be enough space here. Well, maybe not in each of these, but in most. Very good. Alright. What else was I left with to do? To check my power. And I am running low. So definitely can turn on more of the advanced wind turbines. I should probably build another solar power plant soon, but that's okay. Alright, so the industry is online, it has power. and there is still demand for more industry, so I can zone another area. Now, as I do need more commercial areas, if this is industry, the commercial areas will be across the street, so I would need new streets in order to build that. Alright, high density commercial buildings built onto here. As these pop up, the unemployment should go down and I can build up more residential areas. Whoops, garbage has already started accumulating, so a new incineration plant most definitely is going to become necessary. And these services are going to become necessary here as well. I will need to build them up as well. So let's see, if this is high density commercial, I would have a row of offices. Let's say something in the middle like this. And then how much residential? Well, let's go with 5. So 1, 2, and 5. 5 areas of residential, which means that this would be the point where I would stop building residential areas and actually build some services. Now, a good question is, what is an edge here? Onto here I have the exits. Or do I? This is an exit. And this was an exit because of the industrial vehicles, and this would be then an entrance. This isn't exactly the best idea. This may need a bit of a rework, but I will have to have the game flow and work before I can decide whether or not that was the best of ideas or not. Nah, that won't work. I was thinking of adding it up here. Like this. So these two wouldn't be so close. I'm not even sure that this will work out, but for the moment I will leave it like this and fix it up as the time passes. And now that I've mentioned time, I am almost running low on time to be playing this in this video. I think I will have to leave the future of the city for the next video. I should just check out how's the traffic. Still hilariously huge. Well, this area here is the most annoying part because of the lane changing and because they have to get in here. I could connect them here as well, because this area of the city will need this connection. And as for this, I'll have to think on how to better this part of the traffic. I wonder how many people are using my bus routes, my metros. 16 per week use the metro and 800 per week use the buses. Alright, that will definitely need some rethinking as well. And how am I with imports and exports? So I'm not exporting any goods, but I am importing some. So that will have to be rethought as well, to just see how much more industry do I need for all of these guys to stop importing and just use the locally produced goods. I will also need to use some districts here and get the industry with the appropriate policies. Same for the commercial areas. Here, for example, I would go with industrial space planning to increase the amount of goods that they can produce. And for the last touches, I will need a new power plant. Probably gonna be here, or perhaps down here in this corner. Although I think there is enough room in this part of the city as well. I could place it maybe here if I fixed up that road, or perhaps even here. In any event, that's something that I will leave for the future. The city is growing little by little, and ideas have to be tested constantly to improve and tweak the traffic especially. So that would be all for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and please stay tuned for more.